moving on to comics. I got a lot to talk about when it comes to comics.
Yay!
So first, we're gonna start off with Mark Waid's Flash, the best Flash story I've ever read so far. Um, so spoiler alert for the return of Barry Allen's storyline from Mark Waid's Flash run. But Barry Allen returns from the dead, to the surprise of everyone, because like been talking about as I've been reading this, Barry Allen's dead. Wally West is the Flash now.
Right.
And sparking everybody's surprising everyone, but sparking Wally's insecurity in his abilities as the Flash and living up to Barry's legacy. But when Barry starts to show jealousy and resentment toward Wally taking up the Flash mantle, he ends up leaving Wally for dead in a villain's trap.
Oh, wow.
And then Wally escapes, but then he gives up being a superhero. Until, in his depressed stupor, he stumbles upon a clue that reveals that Barry isn't who he says he is. He's actually the Reverse Flash, Eobard Thawne, who traveled back in time to meet the Flash, but found out that he was dead. So he decided to do the next best thing and actually become the Flash and take his place.
Wow.
It's an incredible storyline that solidifies Wally West as the Flash. It's so good. It's so good. I highly suggest reading it. But a little backstory on Reverse Flash for people who don't know. His whole thing is that he is obsessed with the Flash. He's like a Flash superfan, and in the future, it's a future where essentially superheroes don't exist anymore, and people don't really remember much about superheroes, so their identities are just widely known, like that who the superhero was and like their secret identity. So Iris West, Barry's wife, wrote a book about her life with the Flash, and so he knows everything about Barry. And he loves Barry to the point to where he got surgery to make his face look like Barry.
That's
so when he comes back in time, he looks just like Barry, and he could pretend to be Barry. But yeah, he's also, despite being a huge Flash fan, he's also the biggest Flash hater at the same time, and is the greatest hater in all of fictional stories in general. There is no hater greater than Eobard Thawne the Flash.
No hater greater is insane.
No hater greater. But yeah, it's a good storyline. Mark Waid's Flash. But yeah, get into oh my god. So I started reading George Perez's Wonder Woman, and first off, rest in peace to the legend George Perez.
Right.
Incredible writer and artist. R.I.P. But oh my god, is this comic so good? So there's just one weird part. But so the origin of Paradise Island is very good until it gets it gets very victim blaming. So let me explain. Essentially, Artemis wants to create a new race of humans who are all women to spread peace and acceptance across the world. And she's petitioning this to Zeus, but Ares opposes this, believing that humans can only be ruled through violence.
Interesting.
Zeus eventually takes no side and just tells them to do whatever they want. So Artemis, Athena, Demeter, Persephone, Aphrodite, and Hestia create the Amazons. While Ares poisons man's mind against the Amazons, convincing the world that they're murderers and conquerors, and using their the sexism of the time to essentially turn everybody against them.
Right.
As a result, Heracles is sent with an army to take them down. But after being bested in single combat by Hippolyta, he yields and agrees to join them in their battle for peace. They throw a party to celebrate the union, but of course, this is a trick. Heracles drugged Hippolyta's drink and had his men attack the Amazons while their guard was down. Many were killed, and presumably all of them were violated, including Hippolyta by Hercules. Here's where the victim blaming part comes in. When Hippolyta escapes and vows revenge, Athena claims that they lost their way, and that this is payment for hiding behind walls when they were supposed to be spreading peace and love. And then she exiles them to Paradise Island, where they would be immortal, but have to guard an incredible evil in the depths of the island. But Hippolyta's sisters thinks that this is bullshit as it is, and leaves with a group of Amazons for revenge. I prefer how Wonder Woman Historia, which is a comic that was released a year or so ago, maybe a couple, like 2 years ago, handles this aspect of their origin. I'm trying to remember if you were on the podcast when I talked about it. You might not have, but you should read Wonder Woman Historia. You don't need to know anything about Wonder Woman to read the story. It's literally, the whole story is a retelling of the origin of the Amazons, kind of taking inspiration from George Perez and the origins before then, because this Wonder Woman run is from like the 80s, I believe. Wonder Woman's been around since like the 40s.
Right.
So there's multiple different versions of her origin, but this one from Perez is the most famous. And while it is good, like I said, it gets real victim blaming towards the end of it. But in Wonder Woman Historia, the way that they spin it is that, of course, they go and get revenge, and the goddesses don't tell them to stop. Athena doesn't go, "How dare you?" They tell them to stop in the sense that if you do this, Zeus will be mad. You're going to kill his favorite son. And they say,
yeah.
"I don't care. Him and his men just assaulted all of us. Every single one of us. I don't care. He's going to die." And they literally rip him apart.
As they should.
And then
they should.
And then they send his head to Olympus. And Zeus gets mad. And I like this so much better because they don't get sent to the island as punishment from another woman goddess. They get sent to the island, to Paradise Island as a punishment from Zeus, a man, because they killed his son who did horrible things to them. And that just works so much better as a story.
Yeah.
And rather than having a goddess try to victim blame them, have them actually have like Zeus be the person that gets upset because they killed his son or his favorite son. So yeah, that just makes so much more sense. And I like to pretend that's just how it happened. Especially since that's how it's happened now in the canon of the comics.
Right.
Yeah, comics are real good so far.